way too easy to look outside, sitting so comfortable without a spark in your eye, but I sit and wonder.
Hello folks, and welcome back to another Wise Game video. In today's video, we're going to be covering Classic WoW. We're actually going to be looking at, in today's video, is Arathi Basin. That's right, it's the third battleground that they're finally going to be adding on March 10th, 2020. So this is going to be the first addition added to the game early for Phase 4. There will be other additions, but they're going to be added later for Phase 4, like the raid called Zol-Garub. But we're just going to be looking at the battleground, Arathi Basin, in today's video. And this happens to be my favorite battleground out of all the three battlegrounds that we're introduced with in Classic WoW. This will not be a strategy guide video or anything along those lines. What we're just going to be looking at is the bare basics and what's involved for Arathi Basin. I'm also going to have the information link that I use from Wowhead down in the description panel of today's video. I will also be showing information charts. Feel free to pause the video in those sections. Arathi Basin, also known as AB, is what I'll be referring to for the rest of this video. So we'll be looking at a little bit about the reputation, some certain locations, like where I'm standing right here for the Alliance, and more cool information covering Arathi Basin for Classic WoW. So looking at the map here, we're looking at Arathi Highlands. That's where I'm located, smack dab right in the center of the map as we see here. Now this is where both locations for the factions are for this battleground. So for the Alliance, it's at Refuge Point right in the center of the map where I'm located, and then to the northeast is Hammerfall. Right behind Hammerfall, there's a little cave there, and that's the area for the Horde. So we're going to have the NPCs there for this battleground, the quartermasters, and even the entrance, like we see right behind me, to enter this battleground. And then, of course, you're going to be able to queue up for it through all the means that we've been using in your capital cities. But for doing certain quests for AB and handing in certain reputation rewards and all that jazz, you have to come to these camps to actually turn in those quests. Now, seeing it's not implemented and added to the game at this time, I'm going to try the best I can to get the points across. So let's get started with Arathi Basin for Classic WoW. Now what we see here is an image of AB. We can see what it looks like. Now I'm sure many of you players have been playing AB over the years, but for those who are new to World of Warcraft, we'll go over some of the bare basics just to get started. AB is a 15 versus 15 man BG. And the main strategy here is to control these 5 bases. So there's 5 bases in this battleground. Whichever faction controls the most bases by the end of this battleground is the winner. The 5 bases that we need to capture and control is Stables, which is the closest to the Alliance starting point. Then there is the Farm, which is the closest to the Horde starting point. Then we have to the top north, Mines, in the middle, Blacksmith, and then down to the south, Lumber Mill. And the basic strategy here is to go to each one of these bases if you can and try to capture it. Now you'll have to wait maybe a couple of seconds to a minute to actually capture that base. Once it turns your faction color, you can tell that now you've captured it. And it's highly advised to keep 1 or 2 players at each one of these bases once you capture it, to defend it and try to keep it. Any class that has a good defensive or a tank or so on and so forth are some of the best classes to use to actually capture these bases. Because those classes will have more time to get the word out that their base is under attack until more help arrives. Now, unlike Ultric Valley, which is the large 40-man versus 40-man battleground, that one could go on for a very long time. I've seen matches go as long as 2 hours. I'm not a fan myself of 2-3 hour matches when it comes to a PvP battleground. So that's another nice thing about AB and even WSG is that there is a timer. So once that timer is reached, that's when the battleground will end. But WSG, that will end as soon as those 3 flags are captured. And that's basically how this battleground works. Now, just like all the other battlegrounds in the game, AB is also going to have some real nice rewards later on, and some cool looking tablets that are faction based. And a lot of this is going to work off the reputation that you build up, so you'll have to get exalted to get these tablets. But unlike a lot of reputation gains in this game, you actually have to complete a quest once you're exalted. Once you complete that quest, that's how you could obtain these tablets. Now for both factions, the quest is called Take 5 Bases. Once you complete that base by taking 5 bases in a battleground for AB, you can now get your tablet. And personally speaking, I think the tablet for the Horde side is so much cooler looking. I will show a sample of how to get some of these reputations up, but again, go to the link in the description panel of today's video for the WoW head page and just navigate around in there, and you should find all this information to do with AB. So again, once you get that exalted and you do the quest Take 5 bases for both factions, you can now get the tablet, and at exalted you can get some pretty nice epics too. Now another great thing too is that you don't have to be level 60 to reap all the rewards. Of course level 60s are going to have the best exalted rewards, but at lower levels, starting off at level 28, you could start getting some nice blues and some items in the game. When it comes to the different gearing you could get from this, the stats on them are the same for both factions. They just have different names to fit that faction. So let's take a quick look at some of the rewards and gearing that you could get from AB. So as we could see, there is some real nice items that we could get from Arathi Basin. Once you complete the quest and you start getting your reputation up, you can now start going at Honored and Onward, depending on the level that you're at. Then you would go to your faction quartermaster at those areas that we showed you on the map at the start of today's video in Arathi Highlands, and providing that you also have the gold necessary to buy those items, you can now purchase those gears. And they also sell potions, things along that line that you could use in AB. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell, guys, for Arathi Basin Classic WoW. I know many players are really looking forward to this battleground. It's a real fun battleground. So until then, I hope that this information helped. Thanks again for stopping by and watching Wise Gamer. Feel free to sub up to watch more future videos. Comment down below, we'd love to hear from you. Until then, you guys have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.